Okay, today we're going to be discussing more specifically a man's needs. We were talking about physical differences between physical differences between men and women, hormonal differences. Today we're going to be talking about the makeup of a man and where halacha plays in and how the halacha um, guides a marriage using the sensitivities towards a man's physical makeup. So, in general, a man is much more physically oriented than a woman, and a woman is much more emotionally oriented. A man gets his greatest sipuk from Tashmish Amita. There's no question about it. Um, that sipuk could be both physically, but it could also be emotionally as well. In the beginning of marriage, many times, it's not 100%, but many times, a man will have a complete feeling of shleimus because of the physical feeling during Tashmi Shamita. Shleimus means wholeness. You'll feel whole, feel like a whole person, complete. Yeah, that feeling, Ravolbi says, is a little bit fake. It's fake because you don't really have that wholeness in the beginning of marriage. A couple hasn't worked on building themselves up. So it's kind of like people feel this feeling in the beginning of marriage, and it feels really nice and really good. And then all of a sudden, like 6 months in or whatever, I mean, a certain amount of time in, and like the whole world falls apart. Well, what happened? The whole world didn't fall apart. It was never there in the first place. It was all demurnis. It was all imagination. It seemed like it. It felt like, wow, people things are like fantastic, amazing, and it's great. A new couple, they're excited, whatever. That's a great way to start off. But you should understand that this is really only the beginning. People are not anywhere near what real shleimus they need to reach. Person really needs to work hard, but because a man is so physically oriented, and this is a need that he's been feeling for such a long time, and finally he has it, he does have that normal feeling. However, it is not real. It's a fake. And it only comes out later on, and then there's going to be disappointment. And the disappointment can be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Why all of a sudden did this happen? Real shleimus, real completeness and wholeness only comes with living together, with learning each other, um, connecting on a ruchnius level, emotionally, physically. Yes, physical is also very important too, but it's not the only thing. When couples come into marriage from the male perspective, that the physical thing that's the one thing I need. That's what I need more than anything else. Right? A man doesn't have the sensitivities, the emotional sensitivities. He might think that he's very emotional, but he doesn't have that when he first gets married. And therefore, in the beginning of marriage, many times, boom, he gets exactly what he's looking for. Now he's in heaven. Mamish feels like, wow. But in reality, he needs to really connect on a much, much deeper level. And usually women do have that feeling. Women know they don't feel that shleimus in the beginning of marriage. They don't feel that intense connection of completeness, of wholeness in the beginning of marriage. The Maise, because of the physical drive, it's so strong. That's where Hilchas Nida, the halachos of Taras Mishpacha play in, because it's very, very easy for a man to get bored of his wife. He can have, just like in any type of physical thing, somebody can get bored in. You eating your same steak every single day, you'll get bored. You're having the same whatever type of physical pleasure that a person is having, you'll get bored of it. Therefore, there has to be a time of a break in order to pick yourself up, in order to reestablish, to be mechadish the kesher, the connection between a husband and wife. We see this in the secular world, that divorce rates are so high. People are only looking for their own personal gratification, And once they have it, and they have it whenever they want, so they just get bored. They get bored of it, and it doesn't mean anything. If a couple is looking really to build together, they're looking to build the relationship together, and not to take advantage of the other. So that's when they can make a real kesher. It's the physical drive that a man has that should be pushing him to do things the right way. But if you only have that, and you don't make any real investment in your marriages, so then in the end you're not going to end up with anything. You can't start off with the top of the building without building the foundation of the building. The physical pleasure that comes from Tashmish Amita and that feeling of connection can really be the top. It can be the peak of connection, but only when you build everything else around it. Otherwise, it really does become even upsetting. It's not pleasurable. It's just depressing sometimes, and that itself could be a major reason for divorce. A statistic that I heard from one of my Rebbeim is that 90% of divorces have something to do with the bedroom. Now, I think that statistic might be a little bit off. I think it might be closer to 100%, because doesn't really make sense if a person has real sipuk, is really satisfied in the bedroom. Why would he get divorced? Doesn't make sense, right? It really does, unless the guy is mamish or behema, and he's or other things like that. It doesn't make sense. So 90% I hear, could it be more than 90%? Yeah. The reason is because when you don't have that satisfaction, so if I don't feel the connection. What is the marriage in the first place? What are we supposed to be doing? It's dafka, the time off, that forces the man to be more focused on other things. Now, it's very easy during the time off just to ignore your wife too. I can do that also, right? We're off, okay, I'm leaving for 2 weeks, see you later. Right? That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. A woman should never feel that my husband is only interested in me when he can be physically close to me. A woman should never feel like that. She should just feel like she's being used. He doesn't really care about me. He doesn't care about who I am. He just cares about, tickling his senses. That's all that's all he cares about. That's terrible. That's a terrible thing for anybody to feel. So Lamaisa, this time, the time when the woman is usher, is a time for a couple to focus on other aspects of their relationship. And it's time for a husband specifically to work on things that aren't as natural to him as the physical is. And that's where a man can learn to love and support his wife, give emotional support, she can feel that you really care about her. If you can be successful over here, you can be very successful in life. Specifically when it comes to the Harchakos. The Harchakos are a tremendous addition that Chazal gave to us, because there is certainly a sexual tension that comes with just being with a wife, being in the same bedroom as your wife. There is a certain tension. Now, any type of touching that is a loving type of touch is already an Issur D'Oraisa. It's not an Issur D'Rabbanan. Any physical touch that is Mechabev, Derech Chiba, what? When she's usher, yeah. When she's in, yeah. Any time, any type of loving touch is an Issur D'Oraisa. But the Harchakos help also with other things. I mean, a lot of the Harchakos are Dinei D'Rabbanan, where Chazal are Megala to us that there are other things that bring closeness besides for physical touch. There are a lot of other things that bring closeness, and we have to be careful. Some of them you should do, for example, like eating together. You should be eating together. That's a beautiful thing. It brings closeness. We encourage that. Just put a hecker. Put something there to remind you that she's awesome. That's a great way of making a kesher. You can go for a walk, but to go for a romantic stroll, that's something that's not not the right time to do this, because we're trying to build a relationship on other levels besides the romantic physical level. And if a person wouldn't keep the Harchakos, he'd only keep the Daraisas. So what's going to end up, he's going to end up hurting himself, because there is a lot of extra sexual tension that is taken off by keeping the Harchakos. And it helps a person focus a lot more on the other parts of the relationship, the emotional part of the relationship, the spiritual part of the relationship. There are so many other parts of the relationship, money. I was speaking with somebody today about money in a relationship. Money is probably one of the biggest issues that come up with any couple. Any couple, the issues of money. Most people don't have endless amounts of money that they can just be like, oh yeah, you can just buy whatever you want. Money is a non-issue. Many times, even if people do have money and can actually say such a thing, money is still an issue, because then it becomes an issue of, do we want our kids to be spoiled brats and just buy whatever they want, and they see their parents buying whatever they want whenever they want. So maybe the kids are going to learn the same thing. We're also going to do that. So for that also could be. Money is something that is very, 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 very ripe for strife. So a person has to learn how to develop a relationship with their wife with regards to money. I was speaking with somebody today about it, about how he's starting to see a little bit more, and that they have different mahalach towards money. People have different. A little while ago, somebody came to me who was dating, and he told me about one of his dates, and one of the issues that came up was their very, very big difference in with regards to money, how to handle money. And for a number of reasons, this one included, I told him that it's not kedai for you. And afterwards, one of the parents of this bacher called me up, and they were very upset. This is like a very good shidduch. Why are you telling no? So I didn't really have a lot of reshus. It was private. I had a private conversation with him. I'm not going to just reveal anything, but it happens to be she knew about this money issue. She knew that this was one of the things that went on in the date. And I said to her, money is one of the biggest issues that couples have. So starting off that there's a mismatch over here. Why bring it on? There are so many. You potentially have so many problems that are coming from this, and from the very beginning to keep away from it. So why not? Why he has to marry this girl. He has to. Why start off with something is going to be problems? Okay, fine. But you know what? In general, issues with money is a normal thing. Even if people who more or less are on the same page with regards to money, little things come up here and there. Should we spend money on this? Should we spend money on that? Can make tremendous problems. Here's another place. Financially, to be on the same page, working together as a team. There are so many places for a couple to work hard to be able to connect. So why does it only have to be on the physical level? Yes, the physical is very, very powerful. It's very powerful, and therefore we have to use it in the right place at the right time. But it's not the only thing. By far, it's not the only thing, and therefore it is extremely important for every couple to enhance all the other aspects of their marriage. And if they enhance the other aspects of their marriage, they will also enhance this aspect too. Which is why the time when she's Anida is very important for the husband. It's very, very important for the husband to make that kasher. I would like to talk about a very important topic now. A very, very important topic. And this is really what I feel is one of the ikar points in marriage. The ikar word in marriage is exclusivity. That's the ikar word. That there's an exclusive relationship between a husband and wife. That is the yesod of marriage. That is the foundations of all marriage. That it has to be just the two of you and nobody else. When a man is and his wife are under the chuppah and they're getting married, he says, "Harei am mikudeshes li." That means he's saying, "You are only for me." That is the bond, is that there is this exclusive relationship. sometimes a person, just as a marshal, sometimes a person has a taiva to know things. People love reading the news. I need to know. I need to know the next thing. I need to know the next thing. There's a desire for yedius, for knowledge, for more things, to know more things. If a person uses that knowledge in Torah, so he's going to be thirsty and he's going to run after more and more Torah. If he uses that desire for the news or for secular knowledge or these types of things, then he won't have as much of a cheshik for Torah. Because he's going to be getting his sipuk, he's be getting his satisfaction for this thing from other things. He'll get it from other places, other things. So he won't have that cheshik for Torah. It's the same thing when it comes to a wife. If a person is getting sipuk from somebody else's, some other woman, meaning even if it's something very, very little, if a person is working in an office and there's somebody there, there's another female there, and there's this, sometimes a person can feel there's this tension between them. There's this, this feeling between them. That's already going to be taking away from his wife. There's no question about it. To be friendly with another woman is going to take away from the relationship with your wife. This is true, certainly true about looking at another woman or having other men looking at your wife. It takes away from the kesher. This is particularly true with regard to people who are close, so to speak, right? It's very easy to get into a relationship with your sister-in-law, right? I'm friendly. I'm, my wife's sister, or my wife's brother's wife, or my brother's wife. So all of these people are family. They're family, but they're all be'etzem isakaris, eshes ish. They're not shaykh. My wife's sister has the same relationship as any stam girl on the street. I don't have a. Yes, it's true. We're going to be eating sudas together, and it's kind of rude if she says pass the salt and you ignore her. But having a real relationship, any type of real relationship with any other woman besides for your wife, is going to take away from your wife. There's no question about it. Whether this woman is your accountant, or your banker, or your neighbor, or your whatever, that's going to take away from the relationship. And if a woman has a relationship with other men, so granted, she doesn't have the same feelings as a man would have for another woman, but that means the other man is having those feelings for her. That's also not okay. It is very, very normal for a husband to have jealous feelings when he sees his wife working or dealing with other men. That's a very normal thing. It's a normal thing to feel that way. Now, if she's being careful and she's being tsinua, so then say to her, you can trust her. But it's normal to feel that way. It's normal to feel that way because a man wants to feel like I have this relationship with his wife. But what he doesn't realize is that if he's talking with other women, his wife's going to be upset about that too. So you have a relationship with your neighbor, you have a relationship with your wife's friend. That's already a place that is very, very possibly taking away from your relationship with your wife, if that's the case. All of these women are strange women. They are not your relative. Even if they're your in-law relatives, but they're not blood relatives. It's not your mother. It's not your grandmother. It's not your daughter. It's not your sister. So the etzem to look at another woman is problematic. Certainly Shmiras Einayim is so important, especially when a person is married. Especially when a person is married, Shmiras Einayim is important. The better the kesher that a man has with his wife, the easier it will be for him to be saved from issues of Shmiras Einayim. Different places in Chazal tell us that a man can look at other women as a monkey, as a chicken. It's meaningless to me. The mamish meaningless to me. People, moroim or mamish like on the very, very high levels, can even be less than that. But Lamaisa, there ain't apotropos la'arayis. We can't really trust ourselves with regards to our eyes, which is why we have to be very, very careful. But even more so, if we really want to make that exclusive relationship with our wife, which is what will save us from these issues. It will save a man from these issues if he has that real deep kesher with his wife. So to make that exclusive kesher, just the two of them, and that means a man's eyes are for his wife, and a woman's body is for her husband, which means a woman has to be very careful and should be very careful the way she goes out. Most frum women do not have no idea what they do to men when they walk out on the street. They don't know. Unless they learn this, which they don't teach in Beis Yaakov. They do not teach in Beis Yaakov, by the way, if you go out dressed with a short skirt or whatever, you're going to be turning heads. All the boys are going to be looking at you, and they're going to be having all kinds of machshavas about you. They don't teach that. Rightfully so, because a girl needs to learn about having a strong erech herself, that it's the meaning for her. She shouldn't be making a cheshbon about what somebody else. Her cheshbon should be about herself, that she's a dignified person. And tznius is a dignified thing. And that's why she does it, because it builds her up as a person. And that's what they should be teaching in Beis Yaakov. But is it true, the other thing? Of course it's true. Of course it's true. The Shurim are only for men, so we can tell what it is for a man. It is definitely a problem of lifnei iver, as Poskim have said. And most girls don't know that. But it still breaks the kesher, which is why a lot of this is on the responsibility on the husband. A woman doesn't know that the way she's walking around is causing men to turn their heads. That is a breakdown of that. First of all, it could be over on Yisur D'Oraisa, but besides for that, it's a breakdown of the kesher between the husband and wife. The husband has the responsibility to tell her that. It obviously works the same way for a woman to the male relatives, right? So a woman to her husband's brother or her sister's husband or anything like that, it's the same thing. The relationship has to be exclusive between the two of them. It doesn't mean, again, that you could be a normal person. But there's a difference between being a normal person and being overly friendly or being too friendly. Because when these things happen, you develop relationships. When there are any developed relationships outside of the relationship between a husband and wife themselves, that will definitely take away from the relationship between a husband and wife. This is the yesod of being exclusive, just the two of them. The one person in my life, the one woman in my life that I'm connected to is my wife. The one man that I'm connected to is my husband. You can obviously love your children, grandchildren, parents, and you can have your siblings and siblings-in-law and share simchas with them. The question is, who do you have the relationship with? Yes, you can have the relationship with your children. Immediate blood relatives like that, we're not choishish for. So have a relationship with your children, even though certain situations, it's very sad, but certain situations there actually are where a parent will use one of their children as in replacement for their spouse, which is very, very sad. That's something that needs real professional help. If a woman does not have a deep relationship with her husband and she uses her son, not in a physical way, but in an emotional way as her husband, so to speak, that is very damaging, not only to the relationship between her and her husband, but it's a very damaging for the child. The child is not going to be normal. It's the same thing if a father does it for a daughter. It's very, very damaging, these types of things, which is, again, those types of things are really beyond the realm of normal. A healthy relationship between a parent and a child, we're going to assume you can have a relationship. It can be a relationship between them. It's only when it goes too far, and you have to know the situation in order to know. That's something that will need professional help. Lamaisa, getting back and finishing up now. This is a very, very crucial part of life. A lot of times, people, you can create a very negative cycle. The negative cycle starts with, not connecting between a husband and wife, and then to a certain degree giving up or trying something outside. Ledugma, husband and wife have a fight. They get into a fight. Okay, they get into a fight, so he's upset. He's upset, and he goes to work. And at work, there's somebody there at work who smiles at him. Yeah, just smiles at him. So it makes him feel good, especially he just got into a fight with his wife, and this woman smiles at him. That's it. It could be as simple as that, and it makes him feel good already. So maybe he doesn't do anything at that point, whatever. But like the next time something like this happens, so automatically he might be looking over there already to get a little chizuk. Already, this is the start of something that is not healthy. It's a terrible, terrible thing that can happen all the time. But the more a person puts in, no, the relationship is only with my wife. That's it. And the same thing works in reverse as well. So this has to be so important. Just inviting couples over and having, talking, schmoozing with somebody else's wife is not healthy. It's not a healthy thing. It is normal for a man to have an issue with somebody else's wife, to feel uncomfortable, to feel like there's something happening with somebody because it's wrong. So just to be schmoozing or friendly with somebody else's wife is only going to hurt him, it's only going to hurt her as well, and it will hurt their marriages. The more a person can focus all my energy, everything that I have, only on my wife, the bigger, the better the marriage will be, the more satisfaction they'll have, and the happier they'll be. Okay, we'll stop.